Baik, selamat sore semuanya. Good afternoon and welcome. And of course, thank you for participating. Baik, hari ini kita mau menyaksikan peluncuran kembali ya buku yang sangat istimewa. A book celebrating Nadia Hutagalung's journey with new content focusing on emotional well-being. Walk with Me. Nah, itu dia bukunya ya. Dan saya Becky Tumiwu senang sekali bisa berada di sini di tengah-tengah Anda semuanya di acara yang sungguh sangat istimewa hari ini. Wah, kalau saya keker-keker dari sini ya, udah banyak nih wajah-wajah familiar yang sudah siap untuk berbagi bersama dengan kita. Nadia Hutagalungnya udah pasti ada dong ya, orang ini bukunya ya kan. Tapi selain itu, ada siapa saja? Nah, nanti kita saksikan ya obrolan Nadia bersama dengan beberapa persona yang memang dihadirkan untuk dapat berbagi pengalaman dengan kita semua. Oke, terima kasih kami ucapkan kepada semua pihak yang sudah berkontribusi di acara ini, yaitu Advan Media, kemudian terima kasih juga kepada Didit Hedi Prasetyo, serta pastinya Harper's Bazaar Indonesia. Oke, pada sore hari ini kita nih akan berbincang-bincang ngobrol tentang buku Nadia Hutagalung yang berjudul Walk With Me yang diterbitkan oleh Advan Media dan didukung penuh oleh Didit Hedi Prasetyo. Buku Walk With Me ini sebenarnya pernah diterbitkan pada tahun 2018 dan pada tahun 2020 ini diterbitkan kembali dengan konten baru yang berbicara tentang emotional well-being. Dan dalam membahas topik tersebut, Nadia akan mengundang tadi yang saya sudah sampaikan beberapa persona dari berbagai latar belakang untuk berbagi pengalaman dan perspektif mereka. Beberapa pribadi yang sudah pasti berani berbagi kisahnya adalah ada Happy Salma sudah hadir di sini bersama dengan kita, ada Eva Celia, ada Afgan Syah Reza, ada Iqbal Ramadan dan juga Chelsea Islam. Oke. Baik teman-teman, tadi kita sudah saksikan ya, dan terima kasih sekali Didit, Winda, dan Budi dari Advan Media yang sudah menyampaikan kesan mereka dan juga mengapa ya mereka mau terlibat dan juga mau menerbitkan kembali buku ini. Nah, jadi seperti yang tadi sudah diinformasikan bahwa sore hari ini selain berbicara tentang isi buku kita ini ya, Walk With Me, ini dia nih bukunya nih. Keren banget ya. Udah Nadianya cantik banget, enak dilihat. Isinya pun very very meaningful and precious ya. Nah, jadi kita nanti tidak hanya akan membicarakan tentang buku, tapi juga tentang emotional well-being dengan para persona yang tadi tuh ya berani untuk berbagi ya cerita tentang aduh apa sih yang sudah pernah mereka alami. Oke, untuk informasi juga bagi teman-teman ya audiens yang hadir hari ini nanti akan ada sesi tanya jawabnya ya dan Anda bisa menuliskan pertanyaan Anda di fitur Q&A. Jadi kalau Anda lihat di Zoom ini ada fiturnya di bawah situ Q&A, and don't worry kalau Anda nggak mau ketahuan, aduh siapa yang nanya, saya tidak akan sebutkan nama, dan serta yang lain juga tidak bisa saling melihat apa yang Anda tanyakan dan siapa yang bertanya. Oke? Jadi jangan sungkan, yuk mari kita sharing di sini. Dan aduh, kayaknya udah nggak sabar ya, kepingin langsung saja ngobrol dan mau mendengarkan apa yang akan disampaikan oleh Nadia Hutagalung. Untuk itu langsung saja kita sambut Nadia Hutagalung. Hey, hello girl. Tuh, hai Nat. Oke, Nadia sudah hadir di tengah-tengah kita. First of all, congratulations for the very beautiful book, ya. Dan kayaknya pasti nggak cuma beautiful, tapi juga meaningful and useful. Nah, Nadia, by the way, apa kabar kamu sayang?
Aku lagi baik sekali. Terima kasih Becky. Thank you so much for being here and joining us today. Aku senang sekali. Sebetulnya minggu ini agak capek sih akhir minggu karena minggu ini we spoke to so many of our champions every day on IG Live. Tapi karena mereka udah mau curhat dan cerita, and hear a little bit about that later on.
Oke, iya tuh. Aku juga lihat. Jadi udah ngobrol, ada Happy, ada Afgan. Nah, tenang ya. Kalau yang ketinggalan masih bisa lihat di IGTV-nya Nadia Hutagalung dan bisa ikutin obrolannya sekarang ini. Jadi kayaknya nggak usah berpanjang-panjang lagi ya. Nanya, Nadia kamu ngapain aja? Sibuk apa saat ini? Tapi menarik loh. Ngapain aja Nat sehari-hari selain ya tentu ngurusin persiapan untuk launching buku bersama-sama kita hari ini ya?
Sebetulnya untuk tahun 2020, I've been busy dengan campaign We the Good di Singapura. Dan itu fokusnya untuk orang-orang yang mungkin a little bit more difficult karena COVID ya. So in Singapore it's the migrant workers. Karena di Singapura hampir 90% cases of COVID itu adalah di community mereka, the migrant workers, and then mental health and individuals and families at risk. Jadi sebetulnya this year I've been busy giving and with purpose and having wonderful perspective. So it's been actually for me a very meaningful year.
Oke, wow, luar biasa. Dan sempat juga masih loh berbagi dengan kita hari ini. Oke, tanpa berpanjang-panjang lagi, kita langsung saja ikuti apa yang akan disampaikan oleh Nadia. So, Nadia, the screen is yours.
Terima kasih, Becky. Thank you so much. Hi everyone, thank you all so much for joining. Hari ini aku mau berbagi sedikit mengenai my journey dan mengenai our journey together actually with Walk With Me. Dan saya mau, I just want to tell you actually, ya, karena aku sering sekali berbagi keynote and give speeches and things like that, tapi selalu dalam bahasa Inggris. Jadi aku agak a little bit nervous today because aku mau campur-campur dikit di sini. Okay, so welcome to Walk With Me. This is my book. Next slide, please. And this is a journey that we all take together and that we can walk together. It's a collaborative effort. It's a collective, and we're all heading in the same direction. Next slide, please. Dan juga aku mau curhat karena biasanya aku kalau lagi giving keynote sebetulnya jarang pakai slide. I just usually speak and share from my heart. But today I wanted to share a little bit of what you might see in the book and a little bit that's coming from my heart. So sometimes pictures do a much better job, or they add flavor and they add color to the stories as well. So this is a little snippet from one of the chapters in my book. Actually, this is a combination of things that you'll see in my book, my family, pictures that I've never shown before, pictures of me when I was modeling, my mom, my dad, and that's little me. Kalau aku lihat fotonya itu, anak saya yang paling kecil itu Naila, that looks like Naila actually now. Next slide, please. Di dalam buku, dari video tadi udah lihat, there's my MTV VJs. Kita sempat kumpul di Ubud and we had a reunion, and it was so interesting to see where everybody is or was in their lives at that time. It's amazing to see how each of us have grown in different ways, and then to come together again and to sort of rethink of those memories and how we were and how much we changed since then. Next slide, please. this is the chapter, the mirror chapter, yang ada Joey, Abel. This is to sort of bring back the days of my early days modeling. Actually, it's funny because people thought I modeled for a long time, tapi sebetulnya sejak aku mulai di MTV dari tahun 95, actually, I didn't really model anymore. I did endorsements and things like that, but not really modeling. So this is just a look back at that time. Next slide, please. Dan di dalam buku ini, aku sangat senang bisa bawa tim, and then by you buying the book or experiencing the book, you get to feel a little bit of my heart. And a lot of my heart is in Kenya. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And this is one of my favorite places to be. And sebetulnya pas saya pertama kali ke Kenya, kita kan harus naik pesawat kecil dari Nairobi ke sini, dan di sini sebetulnya nggak ada, there's no airport, you just land in the dirt. And pertama kali saya ke sana buat bikin my documentary Let Elephants Be Elephants, we got out of the plane, engine-nya mati, and then it was silent, and I can hear the land, and I just started to cry because it was so powerful. Africa is just incredible. Next slide, please. Dan nggak mungkin saya nggak bisa bawa teman-teman ke Sumatera, kampungku. And this is to the Sumatran Orangutan Conservation Program and their nursery. Di sini mereka, what they do is they rehabilitate the baby orangutans and teach them how to live in the jungle again, how to be wild. They're rewilding the orangutans to then actually take them from here and back into Sumatra and Aceh. Next slide, please. And of course, another place that has so much of my heart is Nepal. Biasanya sebelum COVID, aku kalau bisa sih hampir setiap tahun atau 2 kali setahun saya ke Nepal, dan sering sekali saya ke sana sendiri to just retreat and go inwards and write and do my practices and be silent. Bisa sampai 2 minggu saya tidak bicara sama siapapun, and that's so amazing for me to be able to recharge my batteries. Next slide. Dan dari penghasil jualan buku yang dulu, yang 2018, we raised money to send it to an organization working in Sumatra for the Sumatran elephants. Next slide, please. Okay, 2020, what a year. Everybody take a big deep breath with me. It's been a wild ride. It's been such a challenging year for so many people, and emotionally it's been challenging. Kita pernah merasakan sesuatu atau beberapa hal or so many circumstances yang sebelum ini kita nggak pernah experience, and maybe we don't know how to manage with these new circumstances. Next slide, please. Dan sebetulnya, how do we think about all of those things that we need to care about? Climate change, elephants, orangutans, plastic pollution, but if we don't feel well inside. So how I feel on the inside, my inner resilience, has a direct impact on the way that I see my world and the way that I can then be strong enough to go out there and create the change or plant the seeds of change that needs to happen for us to start moving in a more positive direction. But it really starts within. Next slide, please. So this year, a couple of months ago, Didit called out to me and he said, Nat, gimana sih Nat, mau nggak kita keluarin bukunya lagi buat Christmas? And I was like, sure, I would love to. That would be amazing. But can we focus on mental well-being and then can we raise funds for an organization to help support the community in Indonesia, because I know that this is a really challenging time at the moment. And he said, sure. And then the next step came. The next step was, how do we then get the message out to as many people as possible? And that is by inviting our champions to come on board and to start sharing about their stories, their journeys, their hardships, and also how they overcame situasi yang sangat difficult for them. So in this book, I'm so honored and so grateful that we have Happy Salma. Next slide, we can just roll through these. We have Iqbal, Eva, Afghan, and Chelsea. And to bring these champions in to talk about emotional well-being is something that I feel is so critical. Karena, you know, even pre-COVID, we had trouble talking about our emotions, not only talking about our emotions, but acknowledging them or even understanding our own emotions. So it's so important that we can collectively come and start talking about emotional well-being, mental well-being, and help people to release the stigma, release the taboo around these conversations, even before COVID. But now with COVID, everybody and everything is seperti dimasukin pressure cooker gitu kan. Jadi tambah stres, tambah parah. So there's no time that's more important than now to talk about emotional well-being. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. That's just me contemplating about how we can do this. Jadi sebetulnya, one of the things that I've been thinking about for a long time, sudah hampir 15 tahun saya pikirkan gimana cara kita bisa pindahkan orang dari nggak peduli jadi peduli gitu kan. Kalau bahasa Inggris dibilang empathy, dari apathy ke empathy. Dan sebetulnya empathy and apathy itu the root word is a Greek word. It's called pathos. So both come from the same word. Yeah, and actually apathy means without feeling, or it can also be because the reason we feel apathy is because to be empathetic, it hurts too much. So if we don't have the tools to manage our emotions, it's very hard to become empathetic. Next slide, please. So what can we do with empathy? What you can do is you can take your superpower, dan semua orang ada superpower. We have storytellers, we have writers, we have photographers, we have musicians, we have people who are great salespeople, we have people who are in marketing, directors, photographers, HR, legal, biz dev. No matter who you are, you have a skill set, and that skill set is your superpower. And you take your superpower, you plus empathy, you take action, and that equals impact. Next slide, please. And the motivation really is to foster a community that can be passionately engaged in finding innovative solutions for our planet, okay? But we can't do that. That's the challenge if we're not well. How can we even think about elephants, orangutans, plastics, COVID, or climate change, which is so huge, if we're not well, okay? So the solution is a great social emotional learning curriculum that can go into schools and can foster the next generation of change makers. Next slide, please. So before we play the video,
education is changing. The world is changing.
okay,
It's really
play the
essential
video.
what it means to be a holistically well and healthy person.
Especially in Singapore, kids are facing so much pressure. I've seen kids that would cry if they don't do well in the test, because then they're like, my parents are going to kill me, my teachers are going to kill me, and what's going to happen to my future?
I think when we look at our children, do we want our children to be straight A students or do we want our children to be happy? Most of the time, we want both because we want it all. But is it too much to ask for a balance?
So you don't really want to have students who are full of information, who are full of knowledge, but do not have other capabilities, because Google knows it all.
But if we can impact students to really know who they are, be good with who they are, feel love for themselves, that's going to be world changing.
We were looking for a mindfulness program to implement. And when we looked around, we found the Contentment Foundation's 4 Pillar of Wellbeing program. and we were quite amazed by it.
Honestly speaking, I find that the Contentment Project is so easy to follow, it's so user-friendly, and it's able to be applied school-wide very easily.
We really align with the vision of the Contentment Foundation of wellness within and then well-being for all. You cannot give what you do not have.
We had a few reasons for choosing the Contentment Foundation. One of them was the 4 pillars. These 4 pillars actually outline what do you do with mindfulness? What do you do with mental well-being eventually?
It's not just about mindfulness. It's about community, there's self-curiosity, and there's balance.
It's a huge toolbox that we can reach into, and that's how the students talk about it as well. And they can pull out gratitude or empathy or altruism to help them deal with the relationships they have with their peers, with their teachers, and their siblings and parents at home.
I want kids to leave here with those toolbox that they can apply anywhere in their life and in real life situation. And in the end, that's what we want as educators, is to prepare them for what's out there.
It has been so personal. It has really made us look inside, and with that, it's making the work that we have to do now so much clearer. I can't even articulate or begin to explain how much I feel inside. It's just been the most amazing experience.
I think it's amazing because if we do this right, our students will be teaching their parents, and their parents will be teaching some of these skills to the people around them. So schools are beacons for the community around them, and we hope to not just teach students, but everyone that interacts with our school.
So that is really my aspiration, that this little tiny school could really be a model for other schools. And if we can take it forward, I think then we will truly be wellness within and well-being for all. Yeah.
So this year, with the sale of the Walk With Me book, sebagian dari hasil penjualan buku ini akan dipakai untuk diterjemahkan, translate, I always have trouble with that word, the Contentment Foundation curriculum into bahasa Indonesia supaya we can bring as many, bring the Contentment Foundation curriculum to as many students as possible in Indonesia. Dan bagusnya dari Contentment Foundation adalah the founder of Contentment Foundation has taken, the last thousands of years of ancient wisdom across all kinds of philosophies and married it with the last 100 or 200 years of modern neuroscience. Dr. Daniel Kodaro was the youngest ever lecturer at Yale University, and he ran the Yale Center for Emotional Wellbeing. And he's also, what's really cool, a cross-cultural psychologist. Jadi kalau Contentment Foundation curriculum masuk ke negara manapun, itu harus they tailor it to the local country to make sure that it's not just a Western idea that's coming in. So that's why I'm so grateful also that the team and our champions are all on board here to help support the translation of the Contentment Foundation curriculum. Dan sambil nunggu the translation, kita lagi cari 2 bilingual school di Indonesia yang bisa pakai Contentment Foundation curriculum yang ada di dalam bahasa Inggris untuk sementara. And those pilot schools will help with the localization of the Bahasa curriculum as well. Now, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for this incredible team that I have, that you see here on the screen. Of course, Didit was the first person that I reached out to when I had the idea to do the book. And Didit and I have worked together a couple of times over the years, and I really appreciated his sensitivities, his eye, his aesthetic, and then we kind of built the team from there. And of course, then there's Winda, my editor, who worked with me to sort of really craft the narration of the journey, and Budi, of course, who is the one who keeps us all in check, and Tante Esther, who has been my manager for so long, since I was a teenager, and Daffy Linggar, whose incredible images take us on this journey across so many countries and so many places where my heart lies. Next slide, please. So it is my wish, I send out this wish, that we can collectively bring social emotional learning and social emotional awareness and languages and conversations to as many people as possible, so that those who are suffering really get access to the tools and support that they need. Thank you.
Oke, thank you Nadia. Saking terkesima saya mengikuti presentasi Nadia sampai telat untuk unmute ya. Baik, thank you so much for the very impressive presentation. Jadi artinya kalau kita nanti membeli buku ini ya Nat, nanti hasilnya akan digunakan untuk mendukung Contentment Foundations ya Nadia ya. Dan nanti Contentment Foundations punya satu modul kurikulum yang sungguh sangat baik untuk anak-anak kita, generasi penerus bangsa kita yang nanti akan mengisi dunia ini supaya mereka juga punya emotional well-being yang lebih baik gitu ya. Oke. Nah, sebelum kita nanti mendengarkan Nadia yang akan berbincang dengan para persona yang sudah siap nih kayaknya untuk berbagi, saya terlebih dahulu ingin mengundang Ibu Ria Lirungan, karena kita juga ya kan hari ini kita bersama dengan Harper's Bazaar nih ya, telah didukung oleh Harper's Bazaar yang luar biasa. Karena itu yuk kita mau undang Ria Lirungan. Dan kita mau mendengarkan apa sih sebenarnya. Nah, Mbak Ria, hai Mbak Ria.
Hai Becky.
Yes.
Suaranya jelas kah?
Suaranya sudah oke? Jelas?
Oke ya, jelas
ya. Oke, Mbak Ria bisa diceritain kenapa Harper's Bazaar mau mewadahi diskusi ini, mau berperan serta lah ya dalam acara yang hari ini kita selenggarakan. Silakan Mbak Ria.
Oke. Selamat sore Becky, selamat sore Nadia, Afgan, Eva, Happy, Iqbal dan semua yang hadir. Saya atas nama Harper's Bazaar Indonesia senang banget dan bangga sekali bisa menjadi bagian dari proyek Nadia, proyek Advan Media di Hadi Prasetyo Winda dan Budi ini. Saya udah baca buku yang pertama, ini bagus banget nih ada di sini juga. Kita juga semua udah tahu gerakan dan yang Nadia sudah lakukan. Kita udah lihat di Instagram Nadia apa yang sudah Nadia lakukan dan inisiatif-inisiatif yang dilakukan buat komunitas, buat masyarakat dan juga buat lingkungan. Nah, itu adalah alasan pertama kenapa saya bilang Harper's Bazaar dan saya itu senang sekali dan bangga bisa dilibatkan di proyek ini. Nah, yang kedua, gini, menurut survei itu ada 3 jenis konten, terutama ini buat digital ya, yang paling diminati, yang paling laris. Yaitu 1, konten itu harus inspirational, 2 itu kontroversial, 3 lucu atau kombinasi. Kita bisa lihat aja konten-konten yang ada di TV, di-share oleh para influencers, media sosial yang ratingnya tinggi, likes-nya banyak, follower-nya banyak dan tinggi, itu adalah konten-konten yang mengandung unsur ini. Karena apa? Karena kita semua mengkonsumsi itu karena kita ingin mencari sesuatu yang menyenangkan, yang bisa menyenangkan dan memberikan sebuah kepuasan buat kita dan kita bisa feed our mind and spirit gitu. Nah, terus terang saat ini saya concern gitu, bukan baru-baru aja tapi juga belakangan juga kita juga tahu bahwa digitalization kita semuanya bergerak sangat cepat gitu, terus keadaan saat ini juga banyak disrupsi, terus ini semua bisa menjadi hal yang sangat challenging buat kita semua. Terus social media juga berkembang, ada baiknya tetapi juga kita bisa dengar ada ujaran kebencian. Terus pandemi ini datang tahun ini dan ini tanpa sadar ini benar-benar bisa mengganggu emosi kita, membuat kita juga jadi ketakutan, bisa fatigue juga. Ini saya juga misalnya banyak teman-teman yang dengar dengan virtual meeting itu juga melelahkan gitu ya. Terus kita juga bahkan bisa sampai depres. Nah, itu yang membuat kita sekarang perlu berpikir ulang, dan saya juga sebagai media itu berpikir bahwa kita sebagai media itu harus bisa memilih apa yang mau kita sajikan gitu. Nah, Basar itu tadi dari 3 konten itu memilih konten yang inspirational dan yang kadang-kadang juga bisa lucu dan bisa witty, tapi of course kita nggak milih yang kontroversial gitu, dan memilih konten yang mindful gitu. Makanya di bulan Juli kemarin kita bikin satu isu yaitu happiness issue gitu ya, dan kita ingin mendukung isu-isu yang mendukung mindfulness gitu. Jadi tidak menambah ketakutan, memberikan inspirasi, terus empowering juga gitu. Termasuk juga peduli kepada lingkungan. Jadi juga punya empati. Nah, sebenarnya kita semua kan bisa jadi media ya. Sekarang semua media tuh bukan cuma yang bilang majalah, digital media, TV dan tapi kita semua sekarang juga bisa jadi media. Jadi sebenarnya kita semua tuh bisa berkontribusi gitu untuk bisa membuat dunia kita ini lebih peaceful dan lebih happy. Gitu.
Oke, terima kasih Mbak Ria atas apa yang disampaikan. Jadi memang mau berpartisipasi karena memang sangat peduli juga ya. Thank you so much Ria Lirungan and Harper's Bazaar Indonesia. Nah, sekarang teman-teman kita akan langsung nih sambung kembali. Nadia, pasti udah excited banget untuk mengundang para saya biasa bilangnya narasumber, tapi ini ya pokoknya our special guest, they are here now, dan udah kita akan kasih lagi ke Nadia untuk mengundang teman-teman yang mau diajak ngobrol. Tapi untuk teman-teman semua yang hadir di sini dan mengikuti pembicaraan nanti, kalau mau tanya silakan loh ya, boleh diketik di Q&A. Sudah pasti nggak semuanya bisa dijawab ya, tapi nanti kita akan pilih, mungkin ada beberapa yang bisa kita kasih kesempatan menjawab. Oke, baik Nadia, silakan lanjut lagi.
Thank you so much, Becky. I'd like to now invite our champions. That's what I call them, Becky, champions. They're our champions to join us. Tapi aku lupa tadi, are we doing one by one or I invite everyone together?
Yeah, together.
Together, awesome. Okay, let's please invite and welcome Happy Salma, Eva Celia, Afgan, and Iqbal to please join us in our conversation today.
Together, yay!
Welcome, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us today and taking time out of your weekend and joining us in this conversation. I'm super, super grateful that you're all here and you've all been so generous and also so brave. I really, really am so grateful. Thank you so much. Okay, so I am going to ask you guys a couple of questions, and I know we've had conversations, and for those of you who have been following my Instagram, we've been having really amazing conversations, some of them up to 70 minutes. Can you believe it? The time flew by, but we were still chit-chatting. So today, I'd like to start with Happy. Hi, Happy.
Hai, Nat.
Hai.
Saya terharu loh dari tadi.
Thank you for joining, Happy. Terima kasih sekali. How are you, first of all?
Aku baik, sehat. Terima kasih, Nat. Semoga kamu juga sehat.
Yes, I'm well, thank you. Now today, the conversations will be a little bit shorter. They're not as long as they were on Instagram, but to get more information and dig deeper, please do go and see the IG Live interviews that we did. So we're just gonna go a little bit today, okay? So how has your involvement in the arts membentuk your view on the world?
Dengan seni, Saya melihat dunia itu menjadi lebih matang, terutama untuk pembentukan karakter ya. Karena di situ ada kesadaran tentang psikologis, di mana kita merasa aman dan nyaman di mana kita berada. Secara spiritual juga kita terbantukan, karena kita merasa menjadi hidup itu kadang kita harus pasrah tapi tidak boleh putus asa. Lalu juga ada unsur nurani, di mana nurani itu kita memiliki kesadaran bahwa di dalam hidup itu selalu ada dua sisi, kebahagiaan dan juga ada kesedihan. Nah, unsur-unsur itulah di dalam seni juga yang saya rasa membentuk apa yang selama ini saya lakukan dan apa yang selama ini saya dapatkan.
Thank you. And Happy kan kita kan pindah ke Bali dengan waktu yang hampir sama dan
Betul.
kita pernah ketemu waktu itu dan pas waktu itu sih kayaknya the both of us were like, oh, what's going on in my life? You know, so many things not going right. You know, like everything seemed to be going wrong pas pada waktu itu dan kita ketemu, right?
Betul.
And then how have you managed your transition since then? Karena memang sih sewaktu itu agak susah. You changed your environment, your circle of friends, your community. You're moving into a whole new culture and a different set of peraturan, ya, like different set of a whole new life. And there was something that you shared with me that you learned from the Balinese. That was so meaningful. Can you share a little bit about that, please?
Oke. Ketika perpindahan di Bali itu tentu sangat luar biasa sulit buat saya, apalagi biar bagaimanapun saya bergabung dengan komunitas yang minoritas yang ada di Indonesia ya. Bali, Hindu, adat istiadatnya, dan saya harus melebur menjadi bagian dari sana. Dan itu tentu luar biasa sulit. Nadia bersama saya waktu itu beberapa kali kita sharing, yang tanpa saya sadari saya bisa bercerita keluar air mata yang saya juga tidak bisa handle. Ada hal-hal yang sulit sekali untuk dijelaskan gitu, karena ternyata menyerang emosi saya gitu. Tapi saya belajar juga dari hal-hal yang ada di sekitar saya, terutama apa yang menjadi pegangan orang Bali. Mereka mempercayai kalimat-kalimat yang menjadi mantra buat saya. Dia mempercayai yang namanya dasa kala patra, atau waktu, tempat, situasi yang menentukan seseorang. Jadi seseorang itu selalu akan berubah-ubah sesuai dengan 3 ikatan tersebut. Nah, 3 ikatan dasa kala patra itu memberi kekuatan buat saya, untuk saya memaafkan diri sendiri untuk ketika tidak berhasil atau ketika bersedih atau merasa kecewa, dan juga memaafkan orang lain ketika orang lain sedang melakukan sesuatu hal yang menyakiti diri saya, karena kesadaran dasa kala patra itu sendiri. Itu sih Nat, kurang lebih.
Terima kasih Happy. Aku masih ingat sampai sekarang that waktu, tempat dan situasi, and it really resonates with me because it's very much in line dengan my view of impermanence. Sama juga kan, nggak ada yang permanent. Jadi itu semua.
Tidak ada.
Everything is changing. Jadi kita nggak usah attached to people, places, experiences, because nothing is permanent. And now a lot of suffering comes from making that assumption that people will always be the same, that we will always be the same, and that's just not the case. And then Happy. Sebagai seorang ibu, what is your feeling about the state of our planet and the world that your kids are growing up in?
Ya, yang paling menakutkan adalah perubahan-perubahan yang ya tentu itu yang tidak bisa kita kontrol ya. Terutama adalah tentang perasaan atau bagaimana manusia yang pada akhirnya nanti tidak memiliki empati, itu yang menakutkan buat saya. Karena ketika itu terjadi, segala macam yang kita punya di dunia ini akan cepat ya rusaklah atau binasa gitu, kurang lebih disebabkan itu gitu. Jadi hal yang paling menakutkan buat saya itu adalah ketika manusia kehilangan nuraninya sebagai manusia. Itu yang ada di kemudian hari yang sangat-sangat sekali saya takuti. Tapi Nadia juga mengajarkan pada saya untuk saya menjadi bagian dari ketakutan itu sendiri. Gitu. Jadi saya semakin yakin dengan apa yang saya lakukan untuk terus fokus mengaliwahanakan karya sastra atau intisari kehidupan dalam ruang seni yang saya miliki adalah menjadi bagian dari perjuangan dari apa yang saya takuti akan dunia yang di masa yang akan datang.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Happy. Thank you so much.
Sama-sama.
I always love having conversations with you. Dan sebetulnya kalau aku bicara sama Happy, sebetulnya aku pengen banget bisa bahasa Indonesia selancarnya Happy dan sepoetiknya Happy dan sedalamnya Happy. So I love listening to your podcast. Thank you so much for all that you give to the world. Next up, I would like to invite Afgan to join us in conversation, please.
Hello. Hi, Nadia. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Afgan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
And congrats for the book.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I know you're in Bali and I know you're on holidays, so it makes me even more thankful that you're joining us and taking this time to talk about this topic that is close to your heart, also close to my heart. It's something that we have both experienced. So I'd love to just talk with you a little bit more, and also thank you for your bravery and being so willing to come and share about the experiences that you've been working with for the last few years. Afgan, you have experienced maybe you can just share with us a little bit about your journey with emotional well-being and mental health.
First of all, I feel very honored when you asked me to be a part of this book. Especially it speaks about emotional well-being, which I'm really passionate about karena aku sendiri memang punya struggle di bidang di hal itu ya. So I suffered with anxiety and panic disorder for years. Jadi dari my mid-20s, so for several years. So aku ngerasain banget the pain that people feel when they're facing with this kind of situation. And I just wanna, as I said before, aku pengen kita mulai erase the stigma and start talking about it karena there's a powerful thing yang bisa terjadi ketika kita connect sebagai human beings dan nggak judge satu sama lain, but truly listen and understand everyone and appreciate their journey and the differences gitu. Jadi aku ngerasa ini satu platform yang tepat buat aku share and just be honest with what I experienced in the past.
Thank you so much for sharing that. As some of you may not know, also on this call, what really kicked me to get moving in this direction adalah tahun 2018. Aku juga pernah kena panic attacks and anxiety for the first time in my life, and I was not in control of my own mind and the way that I could perceive my world. So sebelum itu sih, walaupun aku udah kena trauma or whatever have happened in my life, never before was I not in control and able to manage what I was going through. So I personally am super grateful for that experience because it opened my heart to be able to empathize so much more with people who are still experiencing, these challenges around their emotional well-being or their mental well-being. Now, Afgan, what did you do? What did you do after you recognized that you were struggling?
Actually, I went to therapy, and I started learning meditation. And I think this simplest thing that you can do each day, kayak write a gratitude journal, just like a simple things that you feel like you're grateful for in your life that happened that day. It's a constant work sih, kayak kamu nggak bisa achieve that in just one day gitu. You have to constantly work on yourself and search for the answers. Then menurut aku sih it's a process. Then I just want people who are feeling the way that I did before, I just want them to know that they're not alone and you can reach out to. There's a lot of organizations or community that can help you out, and you are not alone in this. So you can do a lot of things. Sebenarnya simple things can actually make a great impact in your life.
And it's amazing, you know, that what you said. Kalau kita udah bagi cerita sedikit gitu kan, akhirnya teman-teman kita juga bisa curhat gitu kan. Pas waktu aku lagi experiencing that, aku sempat cerita dengan beberapa temanku, terus mereka bilang, yeah, not me too. I've been experiencing this, dan aku dibawa ke dokter gitu-gitu. Padahal semua orang itu they're suffering alone gitu kan. And
memendam ya biasanya kan.
Yeah, they think that it's only them that are going through this, you know. And when you feel comfortable and safe enough to share, you realize that you're not alone, and then you realize that you have so much more support for you. So it's really about going back to what you said, not judging and listening and learning how we can collectively be a great support system. And thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
I think that's it. I'm just happy to be a part of this great project, and I can't wait for the impact that it can bring to a lot of people. So thank you, Nadia, for the opportunity, and Mas Didit and everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's amazing to be able to feel the generosity of all of those who are joining us today. Terima kasih sekali. Sekarang saya mau bicara dengan Eva.
Hi everybody.
Hi Eva, apa kabar?
I'm good. It's so good to be here.
So good to see you too. Now, you remind me a lot of myself in some ways. You know, you care deeply about animals. You care deeply about the earth. Dan dari situ kayaknya when you care so much, itu juga sakit kan? Can you share a little bit about your journey dealing with eco-anxiety and some of your thoughts around where we're headed as a global community?
Well, I think my journey started seperti apa yang sebenarnya Nadia udah bicarakan selama ini about emotional well-being. It started when I became aware of my own needs, of my emotional needs, my spiritual needs, my physical needs. Ketika aku bisa memenuhi itu semua, aku langsung merasa bahwa everything is connected. So I started getting well. I went through therapies. I started to just be more mindful about what I consume, not just bukan hanya makanan, cuman apa yang aku nonton, apa yang aku dengar. And then all of a sudden I just feel like this deep connection towards Mother Nature. Dan di situ aku mulai sangat peduli, cuman at the same time I was struggling with eco-anxiety. I was very pessimistic of where we were headed. And for the longest time I was hopeless and helpless, and I feel like I couldn't make the change that I thought I could bring to the world. Cuman cara aku menanggulanginya, of course, aku mulai just started talking to more and more people who have the same vision as me, and I think that's really important. It's really important to surround yourself with like-minded people. Dan di situ aku mulai belajar bahwa memang perubahan itu nggak bisa terjadi overnight gitu. And patience and educating people play a huge role in this matter gitu. Jadi I'm not saying aku udah melewati my eco-anxiety, definitely not. Again, I think healing is not linear. Ini perjalanan yang sangat naik turun. But I think that's just life, you know. It's meant to be that glorious. We are meant to feel all of those emotions, and that's
for me, that's what's amazing about being a human being. Thank you. And what were some of the what is it that helps you to find hope again? Like, how do you move from that place of feeling hopeless to a place of like finding hope again?
I think personally for me that really helps is to connect with my inner child. Gimana caranya aku setelah hari yang melelahkan atau setelah dibombardir dengan berita-berita yang gak enak mungkin, connecting with my inner child is just one of the most important things that I can do for myself, whether it be doing pottery or writing songs or playing with my pets at home. Those are some of the things that may sound simple, but it has helped me tremendously in dealing with my anxiousness and my tendency to worry about a lot of things. So those are some of the things that I do. Sleeping earlier, we discussed about this, I feel like plays a major role in my emotional well-being and my mental health. So those are some of the things, I guess.
Thank you so much for sharing. You know what? There's a running theme, ada tema di sini dari semua champions yang muncul dari beberapa conversations we've been having over the last couple of days. Dan itu adalah bahwa solusinya sering sekali itu simple banget. Cukup tidur, makan yang bagus, minum air putih yang cukup, meditasi, tulis gratitude, dan itu sebetulnya itu gratis, semuanya gratis. Yang perlu aja kan cuman your dedication to your well-being gitu kan. And of course this is there's a spectrum, kan ada spektrumnya ya, like self-care, and then of course then there's the emotional well-being, and then there's like then you have some challenges, and then of course there's the more extreme diagnoses, right? But right now we're talking about how the average Joe can maintain like this kind of like mental hygiene, right? Like we can look after our mind and our well-being, from the simple practices, and that's I truly believe that is very true, because it works for me. Buat saya juga memang begitu sih. Okay, next up we have Iqbal. Thank you so much for joining us, Iqbal.
Hello, thanks for having me. It's such a pleasure. Hello, teman-teman semuanya.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I feel so good being here, surrounded by amazing people. I followed all the Instagram live you did with all these fellows champions. Super inspiring. I learned a lot from you guys, and I think being the youngest one, it's really amazing to have learned from the best, I guess. So yeah, thanks for having me. Such a pleasure, Leonard.
You know what? I think we too. Well, I can speak for myself. I still have a lot to learn, and I think I might have mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but my hope for the future really is with the youth and technology and innovation. So I think that you're never too old to learn. So I think we can also learn from you also. So I want to hear from you a little bit about growing up in the spotlight and how you had to leave the country to find yourself.
Awesome. Well, I struggle a lot with self-acceptance. I guess being in the spotlight since a very young age, it really made me question about my worth, my self-worth, and I thought my worth was based on what others think of me, what the public think of me, and I struggle a lot with the thought of just feeling that alone, or just me who has that sort of mindset. And it's very hard to tell to people as well, because selalu merasa direndahkan dalam quote unquote gitu, kayak, but you have everything, man. You're young and you have this, you have that. How could you feel that way? How could you feel this way? Makanya rasanya sulit sekali untuk bisa dimengerti. And then I've always seen education and school as a sort of like a getaway from me. I started my career when I was 10, and I was barely at home. I was just sleeping at home and taking showers there. The other time I was just working and going to school. Jadi aku udah nganggap sekolah itu sebagai rumah kedua dan playground aku. So I always see education in school as a really important part of my life, and that's when I decided to study abroad. Pertama kali waktu itu ke Amerika umur 16 tahun di boarding school di sana. And for the first time in my life, I was treated as Iqbal Ramadan because I wasn't really telling people who I am or who I was or what I did, what I do. Because I just wanted to feel the feeling of being a normal 16-year-old kids, I guess, yang tidak punya privilege ketika bertemu sama orang, tidak dikenal sama orang lain gitu. And itu membuat aku belajar untuk lebih mengenal diri aku sendiri, my self-worth and how I could make friends just being who I am, knowing my value and what I can offer to the world, what I can offer to my friends who did not know me at all. And the process keeps going. Menurutku aku belum berhenti dan belum sepenuhnya menemukan jati diriku yang sebenarnya, but I know it's a lifelong process, and to be able to keep studying, terutama di luar negeri, hidup sendiri, menjadi mandiri, it is such a privilege, and I'm really grateful for having that experience. And I suppose the sharing process of that and letting the younger generation know that whatever they're feeling, they're not alone. Karena aku juga yakin apapun yang aku rasain, si self-doubt, merasa worthless, dari anak-anak seumuran aku bahkan yang lebih muda, itu bukan sesuatu yang jarang dilakukan, jarang mereka rasakan. So I guess just the art of sharing, I really hope, sincerely hope that it can help the younger generations.
Do you think that apakah your generation, mereka cukup siap emotional well-being, like they have enough emotional well-being and stability to be able to deal with the realities of our world right now?
Oh, that's a hard one. The capability, I think, yes. The stability, I'm not too sure about that. Every day, I think we're just bombarded with various news, good and bad, and semua informasi sudah bisa diserap dan diterima tanpa adanya kurasi. So it's really up to the people, up to the person themselves to choose what they consume, what they see, what they view. Eva has mentioned that it shapes a lot of who you are, gitu. Dan melihat bagaimana how the external world is just pretty much chaotic, especially 2020. We all know that. I think my generation is at least ready to have the conversation about how sometimes we cannot change what happens outside us. And then, as you said, Nadia, something that inspired me as well, that we can always change what's within us. I think my generation is ready to have that because it's just something that we were born with. I mean, kita sekarang sudah bisa menjadi siapapun yang kita mau gitu dengan adanya perkembangan teknologi yang sangat besar. Jadi ketika kita tahu kalau kita punya freedom untuk menjadi siapapun yang kita mau, dan kita tahu kalau kita bisa mengubah diri kita from within, I think cepat atau lambat we are willing and we will do that as a bigger generation.
Jadi kalau kira-kira udah siap, tapi is the other resources there?
That's also good. Aku percaya, I believe everything comes down from school. Well, parenting and how you are raised and treated at home matters as well. But I think it all comes down with school and education. And I think with the current curriculum that the government is working, we're moving towards a better progression gitu, untuk lebih mendukung minat dan bakat anaknya. But at least bahkan ketika aku masih sekolah di Indonesia gitu, I wasn't living to my fullest potential. I wasn't being given the resources to be the agent of change. I wasn't really given the opportunity to help others, to be empathetic, to feel what others are feeling, berusaha menjadi pendengar yang baik dan lain-lain. The emotional well-being dan kesempatan untuk mengenal diri sendirinya tuh kecil sekali dengan kurikulum yang waktu itu 3-4 tahun lalu aku masih ada di Indonesia. But it's changing now gitu. Bahwa sekarang sudah mulai UN dihapuskan, it's not really academic based papers, semua anak akan diusahakan untuk melakukan apa yang mereka sebenarnya mau lakukan. And I think with that curriculum, it's gonna be at least, if not the most helpful resources that kids can have from the earliest age untuk benar-benar bisa jadi the future agents of change.
Yeah. I hope so. I really do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, it's again, it's always amazing to hear all of these stories. Saya senang sekali bisa mendengar cerita-ceritanya dan bisa bicara sama all of our champions yang sangat terbuka dan what is the word? I struggle in Indonesian, like just an open heart, you know, to share these things. And now is the time. So Becky, I'll now hand over to you, I believe.
Yay. Thank you so much everyone. Terima kasih Happy sudah berbagi, Afgan juga, Eva juga, Iqbal juga, dan terima kasih Nadia yang sudah. Jadi habis ini saya mau tontonin live IG-nya yang udah ada di IG story-nya Nadia satu-satu supaya saya dapat gambaran jelasnya sebenarnya apa saja yang sudah dialami oleh Happy, Afgan, Eva, Iqbal. Tapi kalau saya dengar ya dari apa yang sudah diceritakan, artinya, Nadia correct me if I'm wrong, artinya sebetulnya actually everyone has their own problem, right? Ya, dan sebetulnya memang di dalam hidup saya pun sebetulnya ya punya banyak masalah. Cuman kalau dari luar kelihatannya wah baik-baik aja, si Becky mah semangat terus, positif, optimis. Ya iya kali, dalamnya dong ya, kayak gimana. Nah belum tentu tuh ya kan kita membuka dengan siapa saja. Nah tapi ini adalah opportunity yang sangat menyenangkan untuk kita semua bisa belajar bahwa kayak Happy. Jadi nama Happy aja sempat ada susahnya ya kan Happy ya. Ya, karena ada proses hidup yang harus berjalan. Kemudian tadi Afgan dan Iqbal kalau dikatakan saya ngelihat ya, it happened our champions today they are from entertainment industry. Right, Nadia? But actually, it's not only for them from the entertainment industry, all the pressures and everything, but also it happened to anyone dari industri manapun. Betul ya? Karena memang hidup pada umumnya pasti ada tekanan-tekanan tertentu. Jadi kita tadi dari Iqbal, kita belajar bahwa oh ternyata everything should be from within ya Iqbal ya, supaya kita bisa menemukan lagi yang disebut dengan contentment. Kemudian tadi Eva juga bilang, aduh kadang-kadang rasanya hopeless, helpless, tetapi ternyata harus connect juga sama my inner child sehingga bisa oh ternyata I feel so much better when I have better interaction and better relationship with the Mother Earth. Itu Eva. Kemudian Afgan tadi ternyata perlu juga ya Afgan ada bantuan dari luar ya. Tadi kan Afgan bilang saya sih terapi gitu. Nah kemudian gimana tuh cara bantuannya? Happy juga tadi nggak tahu kenapa ya kadang-kadang memang kita tuh dipertemukan pada waktu yang tepat tadi. Jadi Happy tadi apa yang 3 itu Happy, saya tadi catat loh, tadi ada yang nanya juga, tempat, waktu, situasi ya Happy ya? Yang dari...
Iya betul, dari tempat tinggal aku di Bali, aku belajar dari masyarakat yang ada di sini. Waktu, tempat, situasi, mereka orang Bali percaya itu dase kale patre.
Oke, dan itu ternyata ya emang sebenarnya apapun kepercayaan kita pada akhirnya sih benar sih. Waktu, tempat, situasi yang akhirnya juga menentukan kita tuh lagi gimana kondisinya gitu ya. Oke, thank you so much. Nah, jadi terima kasih karena kita sudah mendengarkan dengan baik ya apa yang sudah disampaikan. Sekarang kepingin kita nih menuju kepada pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang sudah ada. Oke, jadi Nadia, ada yang mau tanya nih Nadia. Gimana ya caranya kalau saya punya banyak problem, mau curhat tapi nggak ketemu orang yang tepat untuk dicurhatin. Jadi bagaimana nih? What should I do when actually I really don't have anyone to talk to? Kemudian kan nggak enak ya, simpen sendiri. Nah, Nadia mungkin bisa memberikan masukan atau mungkin teman-teman Eva, Afgan, Happy atau Iqbal kalau ada ya nanti bisa menambahkan. Silakan Nadia.
Thank you, terima kasih. Thank you so much for the question. Jadi sebetulnya kalau kita mau curhat tapi belum ada tempat curhat, ada beberapa hal yang bisa dilakukan. Mungkin bisa mulai dengan tulis. Setiap pagi tulis, mungkin bisa 20 menit and don't stop, just write. Sebelum nyalain HP, sebelum apa-apa, baru bangun, tulis aja tulis. Dan jangan stop. Dan kadang-kadang kalau lagi tulis, terus stop, lagi pikir mau tulis apa, mau tulis ini, terus grammarnya gimana, cantik nggak sih, is it beautiful? No, don't worry about any of those things, just write. Setelah ditulis, itu kertasnya dibakar. Jadi jangan takut orang lihat. Ya, kalau belum bisa dapat orang yang bisa you can curhat. Yang kedua, kalau kita belum ada teman curhat, kita harus jadi teman curhat buat orang lain. Dan makin kalau kita mau curhat kan kita harus percaya orang itu. Jadi kita harus jadi orang yang orang bisa percaya. Jangan judge. Jangan suka gossip. Be the person that just listens, right? And not trying to find the solutions. Jadi nanti orang lain juga akan belajar, oh that's a nice way to be, right? So mungkin aku juga bisa, you build your community. So you build the community that you want, starting with yourself, gitu kan. Dan yang terakhir, get help. Find the organizations, cari organizations that in Indonesia yang bisa bantu for those people who do have the ability to get help. And I think there might be some also that are charitable organizations yang bisa bantu juga kalau belum siap untuk you can't afford the payment. I know Eva has just sent a message here saying that she needs to leave. Eva, before you go, I really want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nadia, for such a long time. So it's such an honor to be a part of this project. Thank you. And thank you to everyone juga yang udah hadir dan all the panelists, Afgan, Iqbal, Teh Happy. I haven't seen you in such a long time. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. And Nadia, I hope to see you in person soon.
Thank you, Eva. Terima kasih. Have a good rest of this very nice Saturday, okay?
Iya, aku mengundurkan diri duluan, nggak apa-apa ya.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, Eva. Okay. Baik, terima kasih. Jadi, Nat, tadi melanjutkan kembali, berarti kalau belum tahu ya mau curhat, tapi nggak tahu mau curhat sama siapa, itu yang Nadia sampaikan tuh bener banget sih. Start with writing down all the feelings gitu. Apa yang bikin kecewa hari ini, apa yang bikin kesel, apa yang bikin marah. Jadi at least tuh nggak disimpan sendiri ya Nat ya, nggak makan dalam nanti, amsyong deh ya kalau makan dalam tuh ya. Kemudian
but on top of that juga harus gratitude juga.
Oh iya, benar.
Be grateful for the small thing.
Betul. Betul, betul, betul. Nah, kemudian tadi Nadia juga bilang, yuk tulis. Kemudian kalau memang udah ditulis, lalu ya udah deh belum ada teman curhat, ya kenapa kita nggak belajar untuk menjadi juga tempat curhat, pendengar yang baik. Karena itu kita bisa membangun komunitas kita sendiri. Kalau saya dari sisi komunikasi, saya selalu mengatakan bahwa communication is not only about talking, but communication is also about listening. Okay, jadi when we are able to listen, usually we can talk better, gitu ya. Nah, kemudian tadi jadi udah oke, jadi tempat curhat dan get help. Nah, ini barangkali Afgan bisa kasih masukan nggak Afgan? Waktu itu Afgan mengalami ada anxiety attack dan lain-lain, and then you know that this is the time that I have to get help. Itu gimana Afgan?
Aku sih lebih kayak kalau belum ada temen yang bisa diajak sharing ya, aku lebih cari self-help book atau nonton video-video dari berbagai macam thought leaders yang bisa ngebantu kita untuk merubah perspektif kita sedikit tentang isu yang terjadi dalam hidup kita.
Betul.
Dan yang paling efektif buat aku sampai sekarang masih aku lakuin sih, setiap hari aku tulis itu gratitude journal. Kayak gak harus sebanyak-banyak deh, 5 aja yang paling kamu, hal kecil deh kayak sarapan makannya enak gitu, itu kan udah satu hal yang dan itu bisa memberikan impact yang besar juga untuk hari kamu.
Oke, baik. Thank you Afgan. Jadi memang sebenarnya kita harus bisa melatih diri kita ya Nat, untuk we have to be able to train ourselves to recognize all the blessings and be grateful for everything, right? Jadi melatih diri untuk selalu ada gratitude-nya. Oke, sekarang pertanyaan kedua. Dan kita hanya akan menjawab 2 pertanyaan ya teman-teman. Maaf banget karena waktu yang terbatas. Tapi ini pertanyaannya penting banget deh. How is emotional well-being measured? Jadi gimana kita bisa mengukur kita ini oke apa enggak sih? Gitu. Gimana Nadia?
Wow. I mean, I don't know what the professional answer to that would be. I can only share based on my own experience. How do I measure my emotional well-being? I think for me, because I know I've been at all ends of the spectrum. And I know where I want to be, you know, and I want to be kind of centered, right? Jadi kalau ada kejadian yang masuk dan it's something that happened like unexpectedly gitu kan, aku bisa reaksi sih, bisa oh yeah, okay, that happened, but it's okay gitu kan. Or something, you know, something sad happened and it's like, oh okay, that's really sad, but I'm okay. Or there's something yang bikin bahagia sekali, sangat happy, wow. Tapi aku nggak terlalu clinging gitu, nggak terlalu attached ke happiness itu gitu kan. Berarti I'm like nicely full gitu, nicely centered gitu kan. Jadi kalau ada yang tarik dari kiri atau tarik dari kanan, gampang sekali balik ke center dan nggak terlalu lama gitu, nggak terlalu jauh dari center gitu kan. And so for me that's one, and then the other is that I feel good. Like I get up in the morning, I'm like, let's go. Okay, we're gonna do this. And it's all good, you know. And also, even if I don't feel good, I can manage it, gitu kan. Jadi kalau kurang itu, I'm like, okay, well,
atau kalau nggak,
I'll be better, gitu.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih Nadia. Jadi berdasarkan apa yang kita bisa simpulkan dari ini, ada tambahan nggak? Mungkin Happy atau Iqbal, kalau berdasarkan pengalaman dari Happy atau Iqbal, ada nggak? Gimana biasanya mengukur bahwa oh I'm good, I'm okay, oh I'm not okay, gitu? Gimana? Ada? Happy dulu deh, Happy. Happy biasanya apa? Bagaimana?
Apa ya? Biasanya ya kalau sampai tidak terbawa mimpi berarti saya baik-baik aja. Maksudnya kalau dibawa sampai besoknya saya masih nggak kepikiran, oh berarti aku bisa handle. Tapi yang Nadia bilang itu benar banget. Berarti intinya kita tuh jangan terlalu melekat banget aja gitu. Maksudnya ketika marah juga, ketika bahagia, semua itu tidak berlebihan intinya mungkin gitu. Jadi bisa balik lagi ke dalam, kalau orang teater bilang ke titik nol gitu.
Titik nol. Oke, thank you Happy. Iqbal, ayo apa Iqbal kalau kamu?
Aku resonate banget sama apa yang Nadia bilang tentang bangun tidur gitu. To be honest, kadang-kadang I woke up feeling really sad, nggak tahu kenapa, mimpi juga enggak, semalamnya juga nggak ngapain, cuma bangun tuh kayak, why am I sad? I just woke up gitu.
Oke.
Kadang-kadang itu nggak boleh lari dari situ sih. Jadi ketika sedih, aku sempat tadinya berusaha kayak sebenarnya kenapa sih aku sedih, itu malah sebenarnya menahan perasaannya doang. Tapi when I just let it go, biarkan emosi itu ada, dan ya sudah, memang mungkin pagi itu memang aku harus sedih. Ya mungkin sedihnya cuma 5-10 menit aja, setelah itu gitu. Malah kadang-kadang ya itu tadi, bangun kayak let's go, let's do it gitu.
Iya. Baik, jadi itu manusia ya. Kadang bangun, kayak tadi Happy bilang, dalam hidup segalanya seimbang. Kadang bangun, wayo, mari gitu kan. Kadang bangun, aduh kok lemes banget gitu ya. Baik, thank you Iqbal, thank you Happy. Jadi itu adalah kurang lebih jawaban dari berbagai loh ya. Dari berbagai pengalaman teman-teman semuanya. Untuk tadi, bagaimana sih sebenarnya kita mengukur yang namanya emotional well-being itu. Kalau saya boleh tambahkan sedikit, kalau saya pokoknya di saat saya bisa menjalankan semuanya dalam kehidupan saya bisa berfungsi dengan baik, artinya saya masih oke. Kalau saya mulai pecah fokus, nggak bisa konsentrasi, lebih lelah dari biasanya, nah udah mulai nih, boleh dilihat-lihat. Apa yang perlu kita perhatikan, biasanya harus istirahat ya. Take a rest for a while, right Nadia? Dan kita bisa melakukan segala hal yang kita anggap tepat. Suka meditasi, kayak tadi kita sama-sama meditasi gitu ya. Oke, suka melakukan hal yang lain juga boleh. Boleh dikatakan begitu Nadia? Oke ya? Iya. Oke. Baik, nah jadi teman-teman, oke, tanpa terasa kita hampir sampai di penghujung nih. Jadi kita mau foto dulu ya. Mudah-mudahan, nih sebenarnya banyak yang tanya, tetapi mohon maaf karena keterbatasan waktu, kita tidak bisa ya menjawab semua pertanyaan. Tapi sekarang sebelum bubaran, kita foto dulu, tapi saya juga masih punya informasi-informasi yang penting yang perlu saya sampaikan kepada teman-teman, tapi foto dulu lah. Ya, oke, yuk mari. Oke, everybody. Iya, panitia akan cekrek. Saya hitung ya. 1, 2, 3. Oke. Sekali lagi deh buat pilihan. 1, 2, 3. Baik, terima kasih. Thank you Iqbal, thank you Afgan, thank you Happy, thank you Ria Lirungan, Eva udah jalan. And of course our lovely Nadia Hutagalung. Thank you so much. Nah, ini untuk informasi ya. Buku Walk With Me akan beredar mulai hari Rabu 23 Desember 2020 di toko buku terdekat. Di antaranya ada Kinokuniya, Periplus, dan juga Gramedia. Kalau di Singapura, buku ini bisa didapatkan di Books Actually Singapore, atau bisa juga menghubungi email info@advanmedia.com. Oke, dan sebagian dari hasil ini adalah penting ya, informasi ini. Sebagian dari hasil penjualan buku Walk With Me akan didonasikan pada The Contentment Foundation, yaitu sebuah yayasan yang fokus mengadvokasi ya pentingnya social emotional learning untuk diterapkan pada kurikulum pendidikan. Donasi ini akan digunakan untuk menerjemahkan kurikulum social emotional learning yang dikembangkan oleh The Contentment Foundation ke dalam bahasa Indonesia, supaya generasi muda Indonesia akan menjadi generasi yang lebih happy, lebih unggul karena mereka konten. Oke, jadi thank you very much Nadia and all champions ya, yang tentunya sudah begitu peduli membuat buku ini, buku yang cantik ini, tidak hanya buku yang cantik tampaknya, tapi juga isinya dan tujuan di baliknya. Terima kasih untuk antusiasme dari teman-teman yang sudah hadir dalam kesempatan ini, apalagi tadi yang sudah berpartisipasi dengan bertanya. Akhirnya tiba di penghujung acara kita. Ini adalah sungguh acara yang sangat inspirasional. I am so blessed to be here with all of you today. Dan sekali lagi, terima kasih kepada pihak-pihak yang sudah berkontribusi untuk Nadia Hutagalung ya, dan juga untuk buku Walk With Me ini ya, kepada Advan Media, Didit Hadi Prasetyo, dan juga Harper's Bazaar Indonesia. Thank you, and thank you. Sampai jumpa lagi ya di keseruan berikutnya. Jangan lupa sebarkan berita baik ini, kebaikan dari acara ini di media sosial Anda. Bisa pakai hashtag Walk With Me Book, hashtag Walk With Me Book. Oke, jadi teman-teman semuanya stay healthy, stay safe, stay healthy, stay safe. Semuanya teman-teman juga dimanapun Anda berada, ikuti protokol kesehatan yang ada. Mari ya kita bertahan di tahun 2020 ini, kita udah lewatin dengan cayo. Kita masuk 2021 dengan lebih semangat lagi, cayo gitu ya. Oke, bye-bye everyone. Thank
you everyone. Thank you all so much. Becky, thank you so much.
Thank you Nadia.
Thank you. Thank you everyone. Afghan, happy. Iqbal, terima kasih sekali. Thank you.
Sama-sama. Bye semua. Terima kasih.
Thank you all.
Thank you.